People are either pushing you towards your purpose or they're pushing you away from it.
That's it. Or even worse, keeping you the same.
Yes.
Keeping you in the same place, because people meet you in one phase of your life, right?
Yes.
And then as you try to grow, they don't want to pull you backwards to be worse. They just want you to be the same.
But that's because they have to change.
What's up, everybody? It is the serial motivator himself, McKnight Jr, and you have just turned into yet another episode of BlockBuilding. So welcome. Now, before we get into this episode, I wanted to take a second and just say thank you to everyone that has subscribed, everyone that has viewed, everyone that has commented. I've been getting you all's text messages, and it seems like this series of BlockBuilding is bringing you all value, and I appreciate that. It makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside, and I appreciate your attention because I know you don't have to give it to me. So with that being said, let's get into this episode. This episode is a special one to me. We're going to talk about something that we've all experienced, and that's friendship. No one really gives you a handbook on how to be a friend. You know, we all just kind of just jump into it and try to figure it out as it goes. Sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes people are in our lives for a season and sometimes it's not. So I have somebody here who's gonna break all that down with me. This is a very special person to me. We have been friends for over a decade now. We have seen each other at our highest points and we have seen each other at our lowest points. She is the godmother to my oldest son. This is gonna be good, guys. Without further ado, I introduce to you Kaprecha Robinson. Please welcome her to the set of BlockBuilding. So listen, man, we've been friends for a while now, right? I still remember the times of us with our last going to McDonald's, trying to get a meal.
Yes. The dollar menu was our friend.
The dollar menu was our friend. We knew that dollar menu like the back of our hand. We knew exactly what we wanted before we even pulled up.
There we go.
So we've been through so much together. But before we dig into a lot of stuff, let's define friendship. Like what does friendship mean to you? Like, how would you define that?
I would say friendship to me means servanthood. It also means development. I think in growth. I think that is the key to good friendship.
Yes.
And if you're in toxic friendships, those are things that you're lacking. So I would definitely say that it's just, I know for our friendship, it has really been a lot of compromise as well. Because as life shifts, life happens.
Right.
You know, you got married, you had kids. So our friendship had to shift. And we had to learn how to have our new normal.
That is so true. You know what? I never thought about that aspect of it because we met when I wasn't married.
Yeah.
Far from it.
If you want to go there, bro. I got
far
some stories. But yeah.
Far from it. That's right. So there, we did go through an adjustment period of what it looked like to be a friend to Wayne that was single, and what that looks like being a friend to Wayne that is married, and then married with children, right? So, man, I never really thought about that dynamic, and even with you being a friend with you, Kaprecha single, and then Kaprecha dating. Like even for me, that was a dynamic shift for me as well. And I think you hit on a great point about servanthood.
Yes.
I am definitely in a season of my life where I don't have a lot of time for surface. There has to be substance to any engagement that I have right now because I am definitely in the mode of grinding, building, creating a foundation of legacy for whatever the future looks like. So friendship for me right now is a value proposition. I don't have the luxury right now to engage in any form of a relationship that is not providing value.
Yes.
I can't be the only one giving and then the other person is taking, which ties into the toxicity that you were talking about. Normally, toxic relationships happens when one person is doing all the giving and then the other person is doing all the taking.
I agree.
Right?
But I think also we have to think about it from the perspective. I had to actually call Wayne and apologize to him because I had asked him to be to cater to my love language, and I wasn't actually catering to his, or I wasn't putting him in perspective, and that's where that servanthood kind of comes into play as well. And so when I read the 5 love languages, often we think of relationships being romantic and then platonic, but relationships are relationships.
That's it.
We all want to get loved in the appropriate way that we want to receive it.
Yes.
And I think when I was like, hey, this is how I do things,
right,
and you just need to cater to that. And then I read that book and I was like, I had to go back and apologize. And I think that's another aspect of friendship too, is like constantly being willing to, apologize and say, hey, I missed the mark, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think a lot of times we try to, pull apart romantic relationships and platonic relationships, but we all want the same thing.
That's it.
And they really are exactly the same.
Yeah.
And they create in us taking us out of our comfort zone. A good friendship will push you. Like, I see you doing your thing, and that makes me say, hey, I want to do that too. But I think a lot of the reason why I think that our relationship has tested time is because we share underlying the same morals and values.
Yes.
And a lot of times when you become friends with people, you just, hey, I meet this person and then I'm going to be their friend.
Right.
And you never really think, how does this person fit in my life? And I think, and we'll talk about this later, when you were saying, as far as how do you choose your friends? How do you engage with people and things of that nature? And it's like, we have to really be strategic in a way.
Yes.
With our friendship, and you touched on that just right now.
Yes.
You have to be, because people are either pushing you towards your purpose or they're pushing you away from it.
That's it. Or even worse, keeping you the same.
Yes.
Keeping you in the same place, because people meet you in one phase of your life, right?
Yes.
And then as you try to grow, they don't want to pull you backwards to be worse. They just want you to be the same.
But that's because they have to change. If you change, that means that there's something wrong with me.
Right.
And nobody wants to talk about that.
No, ever, right? So as I grow, that means the other person has to grow. And if that other person is unwilling to grow, now we have a decision to make here, right? That's so big. So when you talked about, like, where does this person fit in my life, I agree 100%, because there is no time for just random friendships.
Yeah.
Not where I am right now.
Yeah.
If I'm committing any form of time or investing my time, my energy, my focus, there has to be a reason for it. Like, and I think about my circle with you and Adrian and Rick, and there's a handful of people that I run with that have supported me throughout this journey. Everyone has a purpose.
Yeah.
Like, everyone serves a particular facet in my life, whether that's spirituality, whether that's business, whether that is coping with other things, whether that is helping me paint a perspective of something. So that is true. So much of, like, how does each person fit in my life?
But I think it even goes even deeper, because as we talk about the different transition of Wayne single to Wayne married to Wayne being a dad, as a friend, you have to know how to play it play. Because and first of all, I'll give a big shout out to Chris, because Crystal, his wife, is amazing. And when Crystal came into the into the picture, I had to position myself to say, okay, this is his best friend now. And then we transitioned from being best friends to being brother sister.
Yes.
And so I think that we've also done that in our relationship. At times, you pulled on me more than other people that have been in your life. But then at this season, I have to learn, okay, let me position myself to still give him support. But I like to kind of think of it like a sports team. Yeah. It's like everybody plays their role, but at certain times you might need somebody. Look, somebody got hurt.
Yep.
So now I gotta pull you in and step up to the plate. But I think that's also really important in friendship. And I think I've always done male relationships really well. Female relationships, not so much.
Got you.
But male relationships are easy because you guys know how to adjust a little bit more than females, because females, we tend to sometimes get in our feelings. But males kind of understand, okay, I know how to position a little bit, you know, and I'm able to move out of the way a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not a personal thing.
Wow. So now we're talking about self-awareness.
Yes.
Right? So, and it is how you know you have a true friend is the friend that understands the shift. They're able to identify a shift in the other person's life and then take a step back and not get emotional about it and figure out, okay, now where do I fit in this new transition? Right? And those are the true friends, the ones that are willing to make the shift, to make the adjustment, and then be vulnerable about it, to have the conversation. Just like you and I, because I mean, we didn't talk for
a minute,
for a while, and it wasn't, we weren't upset with each other.
No.
It was just a huge shift in my life, not just being a father, a husband, a son and all that, but now shifting into creating something from nothing. And that required a lot of my time and energy and attention on top of everything that I was dealing with. And you were able to adjust to it. And we didn't communicate for a minute.
It was like nothing.
It was just like, whoa. But there was no like animosity, no. like when we connected, like I think you had sent me a text message. And I was like, yo, that's real. Like, you know what I mean? And then we ended up talking, and then we kind of reconnected, and we're back in that rhythm. Like we're back in that flow, which is huge. And I never really thought about how to recognize a good friend. So this is huge. How you understand when a friend is a friend for you is when they have the ability to recognize a shift in your life, and they're willing to shift with you. Even if that means that they take a lesser role in your life. Like a person that used to be so dominant, like used to be the go-to person when I had a problem. This is who I go to. When I won, this is who I go to. When I feel terrible, this is when I go to. But then when something shifts in one of the party's life, how you know if that person is really down with you, if they really rock with you, is if they're able to make that transition without any animosity. That's huge.
That was, and it was a really hard thing for me to do. It wasn't like I was just Miss Perfect.
Sure.
I was definitely hurt in the situation, but I knew that this was a season, and I think that's what people have to understand too. Friendship is seasoned. And so it's like, it was a season where I knew that what you needed, I couldn't give you.
That's big.
And so instead of me being selfish and say, no, I want my best friend back, I had to say, okay. And I remember we even would have those like texts where it was like, regardless of what happens, know that I still love you. Like, like it was like, no matter what, if we never talk again, I'm always gonna support you. I'm always gonna love you. And I think that underline was just like huge, because it's like, you may not talk to each other all the time. And I say that's why I do well with male relationships, because the way that I am, and I think it's a lot of self-awareness too, because you have to know your personality. If you know that you're a person who needs to have constant communication with somebody, it may be tougher for you to be able to take a back seat. But I think when, like I was saying with Crystal, when Crystal came into the play, I think my main thing is because we had the same morals and values, that I knew that that's not your place anymore. And I was okay with that. Because as long as, you know what I mean, I love you and I want to see you win. And I want to see you happy. So why would I be mad that the woman that God has for you is coming into your life? I, as a friend, should be like, I want to do whatever. Like, and I was Team Chris all the way.
All the way.
You know what I mean?
Because you were always team whoever.
No,
Yo, we... Stories, y'all. Stories.
But I think it's just, and I think that's such a wonderful thing. And when God brings my husband, he got a passed away test.
That's it. That's
You
it.
know what I mean? So it's just a level of when you love somebody, like truly, I think we just don't know the true definition of love. We think love is something that's supposed to always make us feel good. But when you love somebody, it's very sacrificing.
Yes.
It's very much like, you know, when you're with your child, you have to sacrifice some things. But it's like, I'm willing to sacrifice my place at the table because I know I'm still gonna be at the table. I'm just not sitting next to you.
That's it.
And that's fine.
Right.
Like in this season, I know that Wayne is busy. So when I want to support Wayne, I watch his videos and I like him and I comment. And I know that's me saying, I love you, bruh. I got you.
Right.
It's on. Anytime that there's a video, I get an alert on my phone. I watch it no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I like and I try to comment. And so that's my way of supporting him. And I think that's how you just have to adjust. And I don't know why it's so easy with you. Because I tell you, I do good with you.
Yeah.
But I think it just underlined because I prayed for Wayne, y'all. I prayed for Wayne for a year and a half before he came into my life. And I prayed specifically for someone who had the same morals and values as I did and thought the way that I thought.
Yeah.
And so because we're very similar in how we flow, I don't ever take things personal with you.
Yeah.
Because I know your heart.
Right.
And I know that there's never a situation where you're trying to be like, I ain't nobody stunning you. Or,
Right.
I don't care about you. Like we always had the mentality when we ain't had a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. We was together. Everybody eats.
Yeah.
That was our saying.
Everybody
all the
eats,
time.
B. Everybody eats, B.
And so it's just like that. It doesn't matter right now where we're doing well and we're doing what we want to be doing. It's like it doesn't matter. It just, like I always know in the back of my mind that anything you do, even if it may make me feel bad or whatever, it's never, you know, with an ill intent involved in it. And
right.
One of the things I love about your personality, Wayne, is your ability to shift. And I know you were talking about that with Gabriel. I think he gets that from you. Because there's been conversations. We had that hard conversation after we didn't talk for like a year, year and some change.
Yes.
And when I told you, hey, this is what I need or whatever, you didn't ever say, well, I need this. It was like, Wayne was like, it was like he was writing stuff down and he was like, okay, all right, this is what she needs.
Yeah.
And he's done that now. I said, hey, I need you to be more present when I text because that's how I do communication.
Yes. Right.
And now I don't have to worry, except when I'm asking for gifts for the children. Other than that, he's good with getting me back. But it's just like learning, and I think that's the thing is we have to learn as we shift. We have to learn what that person needs in the season, as we're saying. And we have to just be receptive of that and just be like, okay, this is what he needs. He can't contact me all the time.
Right.
Because he's doing a whole bunch of things. He's playing dad, he's playing husband, he's playing friend. He's doing all of these things. So what I can do to show him I love you and I'm here for you is to support his content.
Yes, and this is the beauty of it, Kaprecha, and I think this is huge too, is as shifts are happening, the question is, what does the other person do, right? So now we're talking about, as one person is going through a huge shift in their life, how does the other person that might be taking a step back, how does that person continue to grow? How does that person still develop and evolve? Because there's going to become a point where the engagement is going to be at a higher level again. And you can't be that same person that you were back then, right? So like what happened between the time of the shift and how are you growing and developing? And as we talk, you have helped me spiritually, you have helped me with perspectives, you have helped me with some of the blind spots that I did not see. And that's because when I had to shift my energy to other things, you still continue to grow. You still continue to develop. You were sharing with me this life-threatening experience that you just went through, and just hearing you talk about the faith that you had as you're going through that process is so inspiring to me. Because I've probably said this a couple times, but man, you know, faith is one of those, and a lot of people do. So I'm not unique to this, but I struggle with faith. If it doesn't look the way that in my mind it should look, I have a hard time moving forward. But just watching you from afar, And then you sharing that with me and seeing the adjustments that you made. You were doing K in the City on Instagram, which I thought was super cool. But social media wasn't healthy for you. So you made a shift, right? I wasn't like, you not on social media so you can like and comment, you can't support me and all that. Like, I understood you had to do what you had to do. Yeah. And you were a huge person in connecting me and Adrian again. Because you were the one that said, listen, you guys need to get back together, connect, because we had separated. And for all of y'all don't know, Adrian is another great friend of mine, a brother of mine. You've seen me in 1,000 million of his other videos and content and all that stuff. But you were huge in bridging that gap and getting us talking again. So the beauty of our friendship is that even when you did have to shift, you didn't shift and sit. You shifted and still continue to grow. And I think a lot of people miss that because they're in their feelings.
Yeah, I agree. I think